Okay, guys. So last period we were talking about complex sentences and complex compound complex sentences. Okay, and here we're going to resume. Okay, our discussion after we discussed what a complex sentence might look like. All right. We're gonna move on to the compound complex sentence, and a compound complex sentence, as you guys could tell, now here we're discussing that we have two independent clauses instead of one. Okay, and this is the thin line or the difference, the main difference between the complex sentence and the compound complex sentence. So here we have at least one subordinate clause, but you must have two independent clauses. Let's look at the examples here together. All right, let's look here. After the two soccer players lost their game. So already here, let's break down the sentences as we go along. We see the word after, okay, and then we see the comma. So automatically we see here that we have a subordinate clause. All right, they joined their other teams for lunch. Okay, so this is one independent clause. Okay, and remember, in order for us to have a compound complex, we must have more than one independent clause. My second independent clause would be they went to the movies. Okay, this is independent clause number two. All right, and how are the independent clauses here joined? We'll see that they're joined by the comma and, which is my fanboys, my coordinating conjunction. All right, so again, I have one subordinate and two independents. That is a compound complex. The man believed in the system, and he knew that justice would prevail after the murderer was sent to jail. All right, after the murderer went to jail or was sent to jail, this is my subordinate clause. Okay, we can tell that this is subordinate because it starts with after, and after is my subordinate conjunction. We also have a comma and, which is joining two independent clauses. The first one is the man believed in the system. This is my first independent. Okay, and my second independent would be he knew the justice system would prevail. All right, so here again, this is my second independent. So what I'm left with, I have two independent clauses joined by the compound. There are two compound sentences, or sorry, there's one compound sentences of two independent clauses joined by and, which is one of the fanboys, and a comma. And we have one subordinate, which is starting with a subordinate conjunction of and. Okay, any confusion of how to tell apart simple, compound, complex, or compound complex? All right, so now that we are all good with it, all right, I'm gonna practice with you. And the first practice that I want to practice with you is recognizing subordinate clauses. I want to make sure that you guys are able to recognize a subordinate clause very well. All right, and I need you to tell me after you find your subordinate clause, I need you to tell me if we have, does it start with either a relative pronoun or does it start with a subordinate conjunction? So, number one, let's hear from Muhammad Walid. Okay, I kindly ask you, Muhammad Walid, to also please change your name in the chat to your own name. Okay, so
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
no, no problem. So let's answer number one first, and then you can change your name, honey.
Okay,
Okay, so
because
number one,
uh,
mhm, let's read it.
because a university is a college where many subjects are studied.
Okay, so let's underline the subordinate conjunction here. Where's the subordinate conjunction would be?
Where many subjects are studied.
Good, where many subjects are studied. Perfect. And what do we have? Do we have a relative pronoun or a subordinate conjunction?
A subordinate conjunction.
Okay, here the word where is a relative pronoun because remember, relative pronouns, as we stated previously, they start what we call adjective clauses. And here, this phrase describes the college. Okay, and college is a noun. Anything that describes a noun is a adjective. And adjective clauses, they must start with relative pronouns, Muhammad. Okay, so the word where is
Yes.
actually a relative pronoun. Okay, it is a relative
Okay.
pronoun here because it's describing a noun, which makes it an adjective. Okay, an adjective clause, which is a subordinate clause that's describing a noun. Thank you, Muhammad. Perfect. Okay. Number two, Ward, please go ahead.
Cable television, which was originally used to bring in distant stations, provides many types of specialized programming. Uh, the subordinate clause is which was originally used to bring in distant stations, and it
Perfect.
begins with a relative pronoun, which is which.
Perfect. All right. It begins with which is also a relative pronoun. So here, what we're doing is that we're practicing how to recognize subordinate clauses in a sentence. And this is very important because based on it, you guys will be able to tell or make a decision about your sentence structure. Number three, Adam Wilson.
Yes.
Please, number three.
J- Joke boxes that used to play a song for a dime now cost much more.
Okay, where's my subordinate conjunction? Oh, sorry, my subordinate clause.
That used to play a song for a dime.
That used to, oh, sorry. Good, that used to play a song for a dime. Okay, this is my subordinate clause. Bravo. And it starts with the word.
That
And is that a subordinate conjunction or a relative pronoun?
relative pronoun.
Perfect. Okay, number four, Marwa, please.
In a time when Stan needed it the most. When Stan needed it most.
Perfect. When Stan needed it most, and it starts with,
When a
and what?
subordinate clause.
And here, when describes the time. It describes the time, and time is a noun. Anything that describes a noun must start with a or a subordinate clause that describes a noun must start with a relative pronoun. Okay, must start with what? A
Relative
relative
pronoun.
pronoun. Okay, so the word when here is a relative pronoun immortal. Okay, babe? All right, thank you so much. Perfect. All right, Yasir, please, number five, Yasir.
Um, who was nicknamed Johnny Applebee's.
Good, who was nicknamed Johnny Please. All right, Apple, I know, Appleseed. Sorry. Okay,
Appleseed.
yes, yeah, Appleseed. All right, and again, here we see that, of course, and what does it start with?
When who
It starts with who, and who is a, if
what?
it describes John Chapman. All right, so here your subordinate clause describes a noun. So it has to be an adjective clause. And we have to
Adjective.
agree that adjective clauses, what do they start with? Do they start with relative pronouns or subordinate conjunctions?
Um, supportive conjunction.
No, okay. Relative pronouns, they start with, subordinate clauses that describe a noun. They must start with relative pronouns. Okay, so the word who here is a relative pronoun. Okay, okay, is it? All right, so let's make this. All right, and let's also clear. And let's go on to the next set of questions. All right, which is 1 to 9. Again, we're doing the same thing. All right, let's hear from Kareem. Where's my subordinate clause?
Okay. Uh, because it is easy to shape.
Because it is easy to shape. And what does it start with?
Because which
And
is
because is a
relative
relative
pronoun.
pronoun or a subordinate conjunction?
Relative pronoun.
Mm, all right, 1 second. Let me just I just need feel that I need to go down again and show you guys your subordinate conjunctions. All right, subordinate conjunctions, the word after, although, as, because, before, if, even though, until, when, whenever. Okay, these are subordinate conjunctions. All right, the relative pronouns are only these words: who, which, that, whom, whose, where, and when. Where and when, we barely use them. Okay, we don't use them much. Okay,
Okay.
they are these words. Okay, so Kareem, you were answering. Okay, number one. Again, let's see here. You answered it already, and you underlined the correct subordinate clause. All right. The only mistake that you made is in identifying how it starts. It starts with because, and what is because?
Subordinate conjunction.
Subordinate conjunction. Thank you. Okay, Abdurrahman Subh. Number two.
Since he moved, and since is subordinate conjunction.
Great. Since he moved. All right. And we're going to circle the word since because it's a subordinate conjunction. Okay. Good job, Abdurrahman. All right. Number three. Ward, please.
Number three, when the weather is bad.
When the weather is bad. Okay. And notice here that when is not a relative pronoun, okay, because it doesn't describe the cities. It tells you when, or answers the question of when do the airplanes fly. So here, is this an adjective clause? What would that be? An adverb clause? What do you think?
An adverb clause.
Exactly, and it starts with you said when, and what is when here? What?
Subordinate conjunction.
A subordinate conjunction. Perfect. Okay, next volunteer. Next volunteer here, Ruqayya, please.
If the weather is warm,
If the weather is warm. Perfect, Ruqayya. What are we circling, hon?
if
If. And what is if? What would be if? Would it be a relative pronoun or a subordinate conjunction, Ruqayya?
relative,
Okay, if is a subordinate conjunction, okay, and I need you guys to do a great by please revising the list of subordinate conjunctions that we're going to have. All right, it's a subordinate conjunction. All right, number five. Thank you, Ruqayya. Rahma. Number five. Please, Ya Rahma, underline the. Tell us where is the subordinate clause.
Whenever I walk to school.
Great. All right, and where's my where? What does it start with?
Whenever.
Perfect. And what is it? What is whenever, Rahma? Subordinate clause, a subordinate conjunction, or a relative pronoun?
Subordinate conjunction.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Ya Rahma. All right, let's hear from Zina. Zina, number six. Okay, how about Adam Al Fahla, number six, please?
Please read the book while it's still available from the library.
Yes.
Uh, while it is still available from the library,
Perfect. Good job, Adam. And what does it start with?
while
Perfect, Adam. And what is while? Relative pronoun or subordinate conjunction?
subordinate,
Yes, yes, subordinate conjunction. Good job. Yes, it is. Perfect. Okay, how about Ahmad? Let's hear from Ahmad, number seven. Can you give us a subordinate
we
clause?
circle since,
Okay,
and we underline since it was it was no since it was just painted.
okay, great. All right, we're gonna underline since it was just painted. All right, and we're gonna circle since. And what is since? Relative pronoun or subordinate conjunction?
Relative pronoun.
Great. Okay, and Noura, Noura number eight.
Yes.
Okay,
Tomatoes taste best when they are fully ripened.
ripened,
When they are fully
ripened.
ripened.
Great. Okay, when they are fully ripened, this is when the fruit or the vegetables are ready to eat. Okay, and what are we gonna circle?
When
And what is when, Noura?
subordinate clause.
Subordinate conjunction. Yes, this is the entire thing is subordinate clause, and the word when is a subordinate conjunction. Great. Okay. And last but not least, number nine. Let's hear from. How about we hear from? Let's see. How about Ibrahim? Ibrahim, can you please underline the subordinate clause for us?
Yes. It's gonna be After they finished eating,
Yes, after they finished eating the main course. Bravo. Okay, and what are we going to circle?
after
Perfect. And what is the word after?
it's the support.
Subordinate conjunction. Subordinate conjunction. Perfect. Okay, great, guys. All right, now that we all know how to detect or to find these subordinate clauses, now let's do a quick practice of 10 questions quickly of simple, compound, or compound complex. Number one, let's go with word. Read the sentence for us on word and decide for us what would it be.
Okay. Although bridges are built for
1 second, word. I'm sorry.
okay.
All right, go ahead, honey.
Number one, although bridges are built for practical purposes, many bridges are not only useful but also beautiful.
That's correct.
Uh, it's a complex sentence.
Complex. Okay, so we're gonna put CX. Bravo, word. Oops. Okay, let me undo this. And maybe I should type. Okay, that would be better. All right, CX, correct word. Number two. All right, quickly, let's move on. And word here, they're telling us to underline the subordinate clause, okay, and tell me the independent clause. So can you please do that for me? Where's my
Uh,
independent?
my independent clause is many bridges are not only beautiful but also not only useful but also beautiful.
Great. And
Uh,
remember,
and
guys, the word but here is not joining sentences. Remember, it's just joining adjectives. Useful, but also beautiful. All right. So again, but is not a conjunction here that's joining sentences. All right. Let's here put a square over our subordinate clause. What would be the subordinate clause word?
although bridges are built for practical purposes,
Great. And it starts with the word.
although, which is a
And
subordinate conjunction.
perfect, Jawad. Thank you so much. Okay, Abdurrahman. Number two, old-fashioned cover bridges can still be seen in some parts of the country, chiefly in New England.
One
Okay, what is the sentence structure here, please?
It's simple.
Mm-hmm.
No sentence.
Perfect. Okay, simple. So this whole thing, okay, this whole thing is one big independent clause. So what we would do is that we would underline all of it, okay, as a simple sentence. Okay, perfect. Abdurrahman Rahma. Number three,
Okay,
go ahead, Rahma.
the bridges were not intended to be object of art, but many people today consider them very lovely.
Great.
This is a compound sentence.
Perfect, Rahma. This is a compound sentence. We would say that it's a CD, all right, or compound. And where's the, you have how many independent clauses here?
Two,
All
two
right,
independent clauses.
great. And what are they?
These bridges were not intended to be object of art. This is the first one,
Yeah,
and many people today consider them very lovely. The second one, and but is a conjunction.
great, ya Rahma. Perfect, perfect answer. Okay, and here we are joined by, I'm just going to draw a circle because Rahma said it, comma, and but, which is going to be my conjunction that's joining them. Thank you so much, ya Rahma. Kareem, number four.
Okay. The simple lines and other dot of covered bridges is the one independent clause.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, no, it's once. It's a simple sentence. The
Exactly.
simple line.
Perfect. It is a simple sentence. Great. So this whole thing, Kareem, you have a compound subject. All right. And here is joining the simple lines and the weather and the weathered wood. All right. So here, all this is just one simple sentence. Okay. Thanks, Kareem. Number five, let's hear from. How about, yes, the volunteers? Okay. Kareem just answered. How about Marwa? Number 5, those who design modern bridges take both usefulness and beauty into account.
Complex.
Great. Complex. Can you give me the independent and the subordinate, please? Where's the independent clause, Marwa?
Both beauty into account.
Those take both usefulness and beauty into account. Where's the subordinate clause, Marwa?
Who design modern bridges?
Great. And it starts with who? It starts with the word who, right? And what is who?
Relative pronoun.
Perfect. A relative pronoun. Thanks, ya Marwa. Perfect. Number 6. Number 6. Let's hear from. How about Adam? Adam al-Fahla. Number 6.
Mm,
The Brooklyn Bridge, which was opened in 1883, was one of the first steel suspension bridges in the United States. What is my sentence structure? Is it simple, compound, complex, or compound, complex? Let's analyze our sentences. Do you have any subordinate clauses here? Adam?
yes, here.
Yes, where are they? Where's the subordinate clause?
Which
Good. Which was opened in 1883. This is my subordinate clause. It starts with which. Where's my independent clause, Adam?
was
Where's the subject? Was
no
is the verb.
the Brooklyn Bridge
All right. The Brooklyn Bridge. What is the rest of the sentence?
was one of the first seal
Was one of
suspension
the first steel
bridge in
suspensions.
the United
Good.
States.
So here, Adam, we see that we have one independent clause and one subordinate clause. So what kind of sentence structure would that be?
Compound complex.
But you only have one independent clause. You have the Brooklyn Bridge was one of.
Compound,
Say it again.
compound.
Okay, compound means that you have two independent clauses together. We do not have two independent clauses. We have one independent and one subordinate. What is it called when you have one subordinate and one independent? It's not compound. It's not compound complex. What is it called? Who can help him? Who can help us identify the sentence? What would it be? What is the name that it's called? Abdurrahman?
Yes, miss.
What would 6 be, honey?
It's complex.
Yes, okay, Adam. So this one would be complex, Adam. Adam, all right. Here,
Okay.
when you have one independent and one subordinate, that is called complex. You did everything correct, but I feel like you're only confused with the names. Okay, so please today I need you to sit and study a little bit the differentiation between the names. Okay, please. All right, but perfect job. Thank you. All right, number 7, Ibrahim. Ibrahim, number 7. Okay, Zena, number 7. Zena.
Yes, not only was the Brooklyn Bridge the longest suspension bridge of its time, but it was also one of the most artistically pleasing.
Mhm.
Not only was the Brooklyn Bridge suspension the longest bridge suspension of its time, and uh,
Okay, you have a comma but, which is your conjunction. Where's the
yeah,
next sentence?
the next sentence is it was also one of the most artistically pleasing.
All right, so you have what? What do you have here? Do we have any subordinate clauses or they're all independent?
No, they're all independent.
So what do we have?
Um, we have a conjunction.
A compound sentence, hun. Okay, we have a
Yeah. Also, we have a conjunction.
yes, yes. The conjunction here is the word and, which I mean but, and the comma, which is one of our fanboys. Great. Thank you so much, Z. All right, Ruqayya, please, number 8.
Um, and it quickly um,
Okay, it quickly became a favorite subject for painters and photographers. Okay, this is one independent clause. All right, what else do we have?
the bridge was recognized as an artistic artistic triumph
Triumph. Triumph.
even be- triumph even before it was
Okay,
complete.
so let's stop here. Before, even before, or before it was completed, is that an independent clause?
No,
What is it?
subordinate.
Okay, so here, even if or even before it was completed, we see the word before. Okay, so here we have a subordinate clause. It starts with before, which is a subordinate conjunction. So how many independent clauses do we have here, Ruqayya?
Two,
Two independent clauses and one
subordinate.
subordinate. So what
That
kind of
would be
sentence?
complex.
Say it again.
Complex.
But you have two independent clauses. They're joined by and, comma and. Let's not forget that we have a comma and right here, guys, that joins two independent clauses. So what would that be, Ruqayya? What do we call that sentence structure?
Compound complex.
Yes, okay, now we have a compound complex, okay? It's a compound CD, CX. All right, compound complex again because we have two, again, as we stated here, we have two independent clauses, all right, and one subordinate clause, okay? Any questions for this exercise? Any confusion? All right. If we do not have any questions, there are two more questions that we just need to answer. All right, which is number 9 and number 10. Okay, Warda, please answer number 9 for us.
Yes, many suspensions bridges built during the 20th century employ structural principles that were developed by the designer of the Brooklyn Bridge. Uh, uh, One subordinate clause is that were developed by the designer of the Brooklyn Bridge.
One
Uh,
second is that were developed. Okay, sorry, this is subordinate, and we agreed that we're going to put the subordinate in a box. Okay, that were developed by the designer of the Brooklyn Bridge. This is a subordinate clause. Where's your independent? What?
Many suspension bridges built during the 20th century employ structural principles.
Okay, good. All right, so what kind of sentence structure would that be? What?
A complex sentence.
Okay, that would be CX, perfect. Jawad. Okay, why? Because again, we have one independent and one subordinate. All right, perfect. All right, let's look at the next sentence. Two of the best known suspension bridges of recent times are San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge and New York's Verrazano Narrows Bridge. All right, let's hear, please, from Mark. Mark? Mark?
Um, Two of the best known suspension bridges of recent times are San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge and New York's. Um,
So this whole thing is just one big independent clause, right? So what kind
yes,
of sentence structure would that be? You only have one independent clause.
compound.
Okay, do you have any fanboys joining sentences? Or do we have any semicolons joining sentences?
Uh, Two forces.
Okay, remember the fanboys are? What are my fanboys? Okay, we have for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Do we have any of those joining sentences here, Mark?
and
Where is it? Okay.
between.
All right. So if we have the word and, let's look at it. All right. Is the word and joining sentences? So if is the New York's Verrazano Narrows Bridge, is that a sentence on its own?
No,
No, right? So and here is actually joining. Okay, it's joining predicate nominatives. Okay, are the San Francisco Golden Bridge and the New York Verrazano Bridge. So here we're joining two predicate nominatives after the linking verb are. So the word and here, it said it is a conjunction. However, it's joining predicate nominatives. It's not joining sentences. So technically, you only have one independent clause, one big independent clause. So when you have one independent clause, what is the sentence structure? What do we
complex.
call it? Can someone help Mark? You can just say the answer. Anyone?
It's a
Simple
simple.
sentence.
Great, thank you. It is a simple sentence. All right, it's a simple sentence because a simple sentence is made up of only one independent clause, and that's it. All right, we do not see here any subordinate clauses, or we do not see any joining of any independent clauses or so on. It's just one simple sentence. Okay, so thank you guys for answering this with me. Okay. As we today are scheduled also to answer some questions about that you guys might have regarding our novel, Kira Kira. Yesterday, I asked you guys if you have any questions regarding 10 and 12. I mean, sorry, 9 and 10. Today, I'm asking you if you have any questions regarding chapters 11 and 12. All right, 11 and 12 starts with this is the chapter where Hank Garvin comes in, and he takes Katie to the Katie, Lynn, and Sam, to both of them to the hospital, where Sammy gets the proper help that he needed. Okay, mom of course shows up. Don't forget that mom, unfortunately, Katie was embarrassed from mom's smell, because she was, she did not get a chance to to change her the pad that she had to use, all right, to urinate, all right, because she did not get enough bathroom breaks. All right, we need to understand that Hank Garvin also is one of the white men that are very different. Okay, Katie recognized him as different from the rest of the white men, and we discussed why. All right, Katie was used to white people being rude to them, like the lady from the motel, all right, from term three. Also from the white parents that were ignoring her mother and not acknowledging them, and so on. So Katie now is fascinated by this white man who is very helpful. All right, and we need to understand how helpful he was by taking them to the hospital. I mean, we also need to remember that he even showed up at the funeral, at Lynn's funeral, and he was wearing, what was he wearing that the family gave him? Do you remember? What was he wearing at the funeral? Katie says that he wore something. Hank wore something to the funeral that the
The
family.
watch?
Exactly. It was a watch. Great. And it wasn't that expensive. It was inexpensive. But this is what the family could afford to show their gratitude to him. Okay. We also discussed father's anger, and we saw that his anger has been built up since chapter 11. All right. How does father, express his anger? All right, can someone tell us or remind us how did Katie's father express his anger finally towards the end of the chapters? What?
He went with Katie and asked Katie where they held their picnic, and then uh, a father went out of the car and went to Mr. Linden's car and got something and hit the windshield uh, of the car, causing it to break.
Exactly. It was like a wooden brick or something like that that he smashed or scattered the windshield. Okay, the windshield glass of Mr. Linden's car. All right. So this here was his anger. Did he feel any remorse for his actions? Remorse means a sense of guilt. Where can you elaborate on that?
No, because he felt like this was something that should have been done sooner.
In other chapters, in the final chapter, did he indeed show remorse? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
What did he do? What did he do to show Katie something? He was trying to prove a point to Katie that you should always admit when you have done something wrong, because an apology makes you stronger. All right, so it's always best, even if you did something wrong, to own up to it and say that he did it. So he did show remorse. Okay, so remember guys, father is angry since that day of the hospital, how he dealt with his anger, and if he showed remorse to it. Three things that we need to remember for the exam, very important. Okay, so what did the show tell us? How he showed remorse for what he did. What did he do?
Uh, to prove a point that he didn't uh,
And own
uh,
up to his mistake. So he took Katie and they went to who?
they went to a restaurant where they sold tacos, a Mexican restaurant.
No, that was the day that he actually took her out to show him the when he broke the car. Towards the end, at the end of the novel, we see that he takes Katie and they go all the way to Mr. Linden's mansion. They knock on the door and the servant opens the door and he tells her that I need to speak to Mr. Linden. I'm the one who smashed his car. Okay, so basically, he here is admitting. All right, he comes and he shows up, and Mr. Linden comes and tells him, he tells him that I am sorry. I'm the one who did this to your car, and I was angry because I had lost my daughter, and that of course he was punished. Mr. Linden basically told him that father will not be able to work at his hatchery anymore. So he was fired from his job as a result of admitting, and he even told him that his attorney will be contacting him. So we know that Mr. Linden is going to probably file some type of lawsuit against Katie's father. All right. So please, guys, remember, he was angry. All right, because again, Sammy was hurt and nothing that he could do about it. He saw Sammy limping, okay, and he couldn't do anything about it. How did he manage or deal with his anger? The first time that we saw him actually retaliate or go angry or take out his anger and do something that he is out of his nature. All right, usually father is very quiet and so on. Okay, so please continue revising these answers in your study guides for chapter 11 and 12. And inshallah, guys, I'll meet you for next tomorrow for to continue and resume uh, um, our review. Okay, and if you have any questions, bring them to the table tomorrow. All right, thank you, Webs.
Miss
Thank you all.
Yasmin,
Yes.
can you upload this study guide with the answers?
It's already up. This is chapter 11 and 12, and the answer, this is already uploaded, Jumana. Please check. And if you cannot find it, message me privately, and I will message it to you or send it to you privately. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, baby. Thank you. Have a great day, guys. Take care. Bye.